We are live. Hi everyone, happy Sunday evening. We as in Justin, put together a really cool video to share. And so we didn't want to take a chance on this Facebook Live that we would have an internet connection problem or anything like that. So comically, if you decide to watch part 2, you're going to see we had some technical difficulties.
Just a bit.
But I'm really, really proud of Justin. He felt really led to share some things, and he did it. And so I'm really, really proud of him. We're going to wait a couple minutes to see who can jump on here and say hello when you do. So we've had some, I guess you'd say MIA. We haven't been on social media very much.
I love how you say we. This is
okay.
I'm always the one lurking in the shadows.
I haven't been on social media, but you would be on social media if I am. And we're going to talk about kind of why. It was tempting to just say I was taking a social media fast. In part, I really was, but that wasn't really entirely the truth. And so we've had some really big losses. We've had some really challenging days. And so Justin will describe to you a little bit in brief once we get going. We want to let this live video come up. If you're anyone that knows algorithm, if you take a hiatus from social media and then you want to go live or you want to share something, good luck, because you pretty much have no friends. And if you do, Facebook doesn't care. So you're going to kind of hear from us of that our intention is to really utilize you guys, followers, and if you have any interest, to comment, like, share. It will be for this live video, and then we're going to share with you a campaign page that we have started today. Mm-hmm. And so there's going to be more information to follow that. And that's where we really need everyone's help. And I am so blind, I cannot barely even see. Becca's on here. Hello, Becca, my neighbor. I can't see the rest of you, but we're going to look closer and more. And so the first thing is to say hello. Maybe you could, I guess we should wait on that because we don't want to miss anyone. I'll set a timer here.
Is there a way to share the live if you're watching?
They can share the live. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind sharing, that would help.
Yeah, so I knew I had a lot of pictures of my grandkids and piglets and everything else on my phone, but when we were just making our video, I had to stop it 4 times and delete stuff to make space. But we were afraid, like with the Wi-Fi, or we really want to be able to go back and read comments and answer questions. And so we felt like this would be the best way to, we're doing a part 2. If you're just jumping on, this is part 1. Part 1 is a little bit of an update. And then part 2 is a pre-recorded. We just recorded it, and that's going to be posted right after this live. That's going to redirect you, if you're interested, to go to our campaign page, where you can see our request. And this part 2, though, is where Justin's going to really share, or has already shared, our loss and kind of what's been going on with us in a nutshell, and the reason for him wanting to share. Or maybe he'll just share. I'm not sure what he's going to do. We'll roll the dice, but let's see.
Nor am I.
We're at 48 people. I think it's fair. Oh, our daughter's on there. Hi, Taylor. Let's see. Hope we did the share correct. Thank you so much. I imagine you did. Happy New Year, everyone. Hi, Lisa. And my nose is completely fucked. Are you ready?
I'm ready, I think. Yeah, so my name is Justin. We have a farm on the Oregon coast, Tillamook County. So this first part of this video is to address really most of our local community. Most of you know that we have a raw dairy, and we have a lot of chickens, and cows. And yeah, raw dairy. We have cows and chickens, and some beef, a small but growing beef herd. And we had something happen about a month ago, a little over a month ago, that was very, very devastating. And we've had a lot of people that have asked questions. I think they're kind of wondering what the heck's going on, and so I'm just gonna spill the beans here. We lost our entire flock of chickens, and the reason that I'm first of all, this whole video is probably undoubtedly one of the hardest things I can think of that I've ever done. One, the way that it came about. I want to try to paint a picture. A lot of you know, especially even before Bobby Ray went off of social media, farming is crazy. It's a lot of work, and on top of that, we're trying to be farm direct. There's times where we're milking the cows and processing the orders and delivering, and we were able to build a pretty decent crew that would help us out sorting eggs and packaging eggs, and so the picture that I was trying to paint here is Bobby Ray and I are on delivery one day, and we get a message from one of the guys that it was just a picture of 2 or 3 dead birds, and I didn't think a lot. Other than did they get run over, like kind of what's going on, and but I went about the delivery, and it wasn't until this gentleman had just returned to work. He had been off for about a month, and so he just returned to work, and so I messaged one of the other guys, and I didn't hear back till the next morning of saying, kind of, can you follow up what's going on? And what the message should have said is there's at least 50, if not 100 birds dead. And so the next day is when the other gentleman involved messaged me and said, we have a lot of dead birds. And I said, again, we're on the road, we're delivering. And so this was his first day back, the other gentleman. And I said, what is a lot? And he said, it's hundreds, maybe more. And I felt physically sick. I can't even describe what sort of came over me, I guess. And so we're trying to get through our day. And I just told him, I said, I need more information. I describe, I need pictures, like what's going on. And so we're trying to research, like, what could this be? Obviously what the first thing everyone's going to say is it the avian flu? Well, I can tell you. Well,
and to add, our birds looked very healthy. That was the perplexion.
Yeah.
The birds are beautiful. And
yeah. Well, that and that's what he's describing, is that they look fine. It looks like they just went to sleep, right? There's no other symptoms here. Some of the other symptoms that came about as we are diving into what the heck is going on is a bright green chicken poop, I guess. And so, we're Googling and researching,
but not everyone, only a few of them had that.
Yeah. It was very baffling. And so I started with avian flu, doing my own research, and I can see that the symptoms are not aligning, right? They're supposed to have a swollen head and a purple comb and all this stuff, and these birds look absolutely perfect, other than they're dead. And so Bobby Ray, for good reason, is looking at me to say, what in the hell are we going to do? And I just told her, I said, I don't know. Just give me a minute to think here. And so within 24 hours, I started calling every store that we have ever been in and we're in. And I fabricated a story, I guess is the best way to put it. And I just said, we got rid of our birds. And of course, I'm praying that nobody will ask any more questions, because I don't want to give any more details that are not factual. And I told him, I said, we're kind of struggling to keep up with enough labor to handle what we're doing. And so, we had an opportunity to get rid of the birds. And so that's what we did. And for the most part, people were quite understanding. It was, on one hand, it felt good to see that people cared. They were like, "Oh my gosh, we love your eggs. This is horrific. And are you coming back? Will you come back later?" And again, you just want it to go away. But in my mind, I know right away we're in big trouble. This is what is equated to somewhere between 40 and 45% of our income for the dairy. We're the raw milk dairy. We started at zero, right? With no customers, no income, and on day one we started, and we've grown the company to hundreds of members. But we also have a lot of overhead. We have a big farm. And so the eggs were quite necessary. One, to travel as far as we do. So, if you've got 3 coolers full of milk, it's pretty hard to justify to drive to Salem. But if you've got, 150 dozen eggs to go with it, that makes it a little more justifiable. And so the eggs were a very critical part in us surviving and becoming sustainable as a dairy. And so all of that is resonating with me, and I just thought, I can't deal with explaining to anyone at this point that we just lost all of our birds. Now, I'm going to fast forward to us doing a little more research and putting a few more clues together. About 3 weeks before this happened, we have a gentleman who's like a kid of ours almost that would haul grain for us every week, and he was going to be leaving on a hunting trip, and he said, "Hey, I could do a double or even a triple haul so that you don't have to worry about it while I'm gone." And I said, "Well, that's great." We talked to the feed mill, and this is a small company, local feed mill, and the guy said, "Sure, I usually pay him every week." And he said, "I'll hold those checks for you and process them the following week and the following week." And so it sounded like an amazing plan, and that's what we're going to do. And so that's what we did, and we hauled in the grain. I remember one of the trips in particular, it was raining, and I was a little bit concerned, but I thought, we go through this grain so fast, it'll be fine. It's not going to be a big deal. Well, it turned out to be a very, very big deal. In November, anybody that lives on the Oregon coast knows, and I have to wear this. This has been very heavy on me. That grain can't sit anywhere in a moist environment, let alone get any type of rainwater on it, that it won't mold. And so
our grain's in 2,000-pound totes.
Yeah, they're 2,000-pound totes. We're feeding 6,000 pounds a week, and a little over 7,000 pounds a week, and this is the best feed you can get. I mean, it's non-GMO, it's corn-free, soy-free, it's beautiful feed. But I want to back up for a second and explain, we used to ferment our feed, and we love to boast about that. It was an extra step, it was extra work, but we felt that it was such an added bonus or benefit to the birds. We got to see that it was a phenomenal thing. And so our guys who really worked their tails off to do the best job they could, I told them, I said, we struggled last year to ferment the feed in a timely manner, because ideally you need the weather the outside temperature needs to be warm. It needs to be 60, 65 degrees. So going into November, we don't have 65, 70 degree days. And so I told them, I said, we're going to switch to dry. We're just going to feed it dry. We're not going to ferment. And then we'll start back up probably in March. We'll start fermenting again. And I hadn't done that in the past. And so these guys have never been too worried if the feed gets a little bit wet, because it's going to get fermented. And again, this is not their thing. This lands on me. I'm the farmer. It's my responsibility. And
if I can add something just so people understand, when you're fermenting, you have 3 to 4 days of ferment on the trailer of a tractor. So it's a lot of feed. So when we're sitting on that much feed that's not being fermented, it's a lot more in totes versus being in buckets that are just being churned and turned, and being processed. So that's kind of a part to kind of put a picture to the story.
Yeah, so that's what they knew, is that you cycle the feed through, you fill the barrels. When the barrel's empty, you rinse it, clean it, you start that process over again. And we'd have 16 plus barrels, 55-gallon barrels at a time, always processing or fermenting feed, and so this feeding dry is something that they're not used to. And I say that to say I want to believe that if I wasn't delivering and I wasn't 50 other places, I would have caught this and I would have thought, holy smokes, this feed is molding. I can't feed this to our birds. But I wasn't, and it happened. And so doing more research on this is very apparent that a mycotoxin in the feed is deadly. It's deadly. And so when we did restrict the feed, finally at the last minute, and here's another thing, there's 30 plus ducks that are in the same vicinity that don't have access to the chicken feed, and we didn't lose a single duck. So that was also a testimony to me to go, and this isn't a viral thing.
We didn't lose all of our chickens, and another thing that we noticed at the tail end, I mean, it happened so all quickly within 5 to 7 days, is that we had some chickens still, but they were pullets. They're young. Maybe they're not pullets, but they're very young birds. And what that tells us is it's a pecking order. Hence the pecking order that came from chickens. And so when you have the dominant chickens, they're going to eat first. They're going to do everything. And you have the shy and the bashful. They're going to be eating grass and foraging around the outside. They're not even going to come into that part of the barnyard. And that was our real theory, is that, oh my gosh, because other illnesses our birds have, hence the fermentation of feed, that makes the feed bioavailable, just like us. So we have birds that are healthy. They're on pasture 365 days of year. I mean, it's really like kind of the premium thing. And then that was something that we always really felt really good about in general health. There's ivermectin in grass, all these different components. Having a closed herd here, we're not bringing in different animals and doing all these things. And so that was something that was just baffling to us. To emotions, stress, high stress makes you kind of we're human. We lost Jack, our dog. We were told he was poisoned. And was it a mushroom? Was it this? And so I think that we were just kind of at our absolute brink. And then it was time to go on vacation with our family. We hadn't been on vacation for over 10 years. And so we went to do this family trip, and it was like trying to be present and not overly stressed and trying to navigate these things. And so I think that it's interesting in hindsight when you look at something that you can become almost overly emotional to it and almost blurs the lines a little bit. And so that to be said, it's so easy now to share the story, but it was a bit of time of piecing yourself in between of what's happening. And it is a huge loss. I mean, obviously it comes with a great deal of humility and stress and a burden, but we're still people to take our own grievance. We owe still on that business, if you will. We've invested a lot of money and a lot of time. And so that level of loss and the impact to the community, to our farm stand, to our herd share members, to all the stores that we had just gotten into Lincoln County, into about 7 new stores. And it just really felt like our hard work, and I'm talking hard grinding work, had paid off. Yeah, to have like the rug pulled out from under you.
The point of making this video was to just clear the air, and I think that's what came on me the most was like I said today, at church, I was like the third person that said, how's the chickens? And I had just shared with a small group of guys last week, in confidence, just saying, that this is kind of what's really going on. And so, it felt so heavy on me, this whole thing, farming is hard. And I'm not to say I'm special. Life is hard. Whoever's watching this may be going through something that's very, very difficult. But you know, when you're already you're just at your wit's end, and then this, and naturally, this is a position that I signed up for, and everyone is looking at me to say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I don't have an answer. I'm a very optimistic person. I can tend to see the glass half full despite whatever's going on. And up until just, you know, recently, I told Bobby Ray, I said, I can't see a way out of this. You know, our website was supposed to go live like 2 months ago, and it's finally just went live a couple of days ago. And
with restrictions.
Yeah, with some bugs. Our daughter-in-law Hallie has just worked her tail off, and I want to give a shout out to her. She's just been amazing. She's really been grinding, and I'm very grateful for that. And that's going to be a huge benefit to us. But like I said, nearly 50% of our income was coming from the eggs. And when you're already, I almost said a step ahead. I'm going to say a half a step ahead of your bills. And then you lose that much income overnight. It's devastating. And so what came on me was to be honest, to be vulnerable, I guess. I can't think of a situation as a man to be more vulnerable than this, but to be vulnerable, to be honest, and to ask for help. And so we just started to put together a GoFundMe page, and it was quite interesting actually with what we had figured up, what we actually need to recoup and pull out of this and to get back to where we were is a lot of money, and so I guess I would ask that we have also started a new Facebook page. And this is something that we've been praying about. We've been praying for a miracle since this happened. And
before this happened.
Yeah, well, before this farming is a faith building journey, I guess I could say. And so it's really brought us close to the Lord. And so I would ask that you would follow along, follow our new page, follow our journey. We're going to continue to fight the good fight. If you're inclined to donate or help, that would be amazing. If not, just pray for us. If you would like, share, comment on any of our videos just to help us get some traction, that would be amazing. And so.
And you have your video that we'll post after this with more information.
Yeah. I just did the video before. It's interesting. Someone that's always hiding in the shadows of the video seems to actually talk a lot. So it took 30 plus minutes on this video, and we have more to follow. Again, I want to glorify God in what we're doing, and I want to hopefully bless other people. That everybody has struggles and things that they're going through, and I think it's just being prideful as a man. I don't want to ask for help, but I don't have a choice. My back's against the wall, and I can't. I can't crawl out of this without some help. And so, if you would just follow along, and any way that you can help, maybe it's a suggestion that you have. Any kind of love, support, and prayers would be greatly appreciated. As we navigate through this, and Lord willing, we can rebuild our flock and continue to feed the community. So I don't know how to navigate any questions. I can see a lot of stuff popping up and a lot of hearts and stuff, but thank you very much for that, for everyone.
And we can just go back through that and post your second part now.
What's that?
We'll just post the second part now.
Yeah.
It's too difficult. We are blinder than bats. We don't even know how this has actually happened. But in the last 4 to 5 months, we can't see as well. So to try to read off your comments and stuff could get really lengthy. We will go through each and every comment with gratitude. Your time, just the fact, like I said earlier, starting this video, if you got on later, that we're even able to post, knowing that we have someone and someones that will even watch and listen and care. That alone is so amazing. Life takes so many different turns, and this has been a big turn, but it's really unbelievable. So many closed doors or doors that have been shut partially have really actually been a great benefit to our character. For sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for the next video coming up. And please follow along. And yeah, the whole like, share, comment thing, we need to gain as much traction as we can. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.